better with Bunting. Better with Bunting. Come on.
Some man away, them want to ram it up. I miss a cat away, them want to ram it up. And all the dog style and them a touch it up. From over Steroma, so now where they pick it up. When Burro Bantan and they must a tear it up. I miss a cat in all the crowd and them a rip it up. For Dan Dada, pay all DJ, miss a cat a Dan Dada. Go go tell him to your sister, your brother and man. Man told the the man called Robert and while apart to riding through. Curfew! Sometimes some back and some of them a rally back. We a road boy, you tell me no take back no chat.
Comrade Chairman, comrades on the platform, comrade leader, comrades all. You know, when I walk with Integrity Commission report, you know, I come for put on some licks on a certain man tonight. And I know that him have lawyer on speed dial. So that's why I make sure I write down everything so I stay within the four corners of the report. But tonight I have a little more leeway because I arranged with Comrade KD Knight to retain the firm of Knight Junior Samuels to defend me. So I have my own KC Pun speed dial too. But before I start, I want to correct one thing that Comrade Paul Buchanan said. He was speaking and seemed to question how Andrew make so much money with the two taxi, what him they do. But I want to inform Comrade Buchanan that Andrew is not the first person to make good money from taxi. If he watch Netflix Narcos, he will see there was a certain taxi company called Escobar Taxi, the firm of Pablo Escobar, that only had 3 taxi and made $3 to $5 million a week from the 3 taxi. So Andrew, you know, say nothing. Comrades, tonight I want to speak plainly. I want to speak about one issue that is destroying opportunity, eroding public trust, and stifling Jamaica's growth. That issue is corruption. The GLP wants this election to be about superficial issues. They want you to select the next prime minister based on the color of his skin rather than on the content of his character. They want to distract and trivialize the issues with their silly speakers who are trying to throw shade by comparing our leader with a sickie, with a security guard. What they don't realize is that the character of this man is such that he welcomes any opportunity to be associated with proud, hard-working occupations whose members earn an honest bread. I don't know what security guard do the GLP, because we heard when Harris Chang was trying to insult the police, him called them glorified security guard. So in that one statement, he insult both police and security guard. But Marky G doesn't mind being called a security guard. In fact, he loves security guards so much that he's going to ensure that their overtime payment is free of tax. JLP, you go and insult security guard, but one thing I tell you, those 30,000 sickie can vote, and they're going to vote and send you home.
Turn up the thing. Turn up the thing. Turn up the thing.
For too long, Andrew Holness and the JLP administration have spent billions on slick PR campaigns and catchy slogans, marketing Holness, marketing Tufton, but not promoting the interests of the Jamaican people. They cut ribbons with abandon. Them break ground for water systems, and then the next day them take up back the pipe. Desmond Mackenzie seemed to have an affinity to opening public toilets. They will cut ribbon for stoplight and pedestrian crossing. But what the people of Jamaica now understand, and that the whole world now sees, is that behind that attempt to polish them image lies a government that is rotten to the core. Rotten to the core. This report of the Integrity Commission, the investigation into Andrew Holness' statutory returns and illicit enrichment, has lifted the veil. It confirms what many Jamaicans have been feeling for many years, that this country is not being run in your interests. It is being run in the interests of the JLP leadership and their cronies. And I want to read from the final paragraph of the investigation report into Holness' statutory declarations. It concluded that a number of its findings are directly opposed to the established public virtues that a Prime Minister has a duty to uphold. What an indictment, not just on the Prime Minister, but on this country. But let me break it down, because I know we want to put it in the Jamaican language. What the report has concluded is that the Prime Minister no fit and proper to hold a position there. When an independent statutory body investigates a Prime Minister for illicit enrichment, when he cannot show the source of the funds, where him get him assets from, that is not politics. That is a national scandal. When report after report from the Auditor General and the Integrity Commission details how multi-million dollar government contracts were steered to friends and cronies, when companies that were barely in existence suddenly get contracts worth hundreds of millions of dollars, when the same names keep popping up in multiple investigations, that is not coincidence. That is systemic corruption. Comrade Steve, when the outgoing MP, which you are sending into permanent oblivion for Central Kingston, admits by his own word that he is shielding the ultimate beneficial owner of medical technologies, which is getting hundreds of millions of government contracts, in violation of the same amendment to the Companies Act that he helped pass, which made that illegal. What are we to conclude? Who is person A that is being protected? The public is entitled to wonder, Comrade Dawes, if person A and Craven A is the same person. Comrades, we must ask ourselves, how is it that in Jamaica, the small man struggles to put food on the table every day, but the friends and cronies of the JLP keep getting richer and fatter? How is it that teachers cannot get proper resources for their classrooms? Hospitals don't have basic medication and supplies, yet a few privileged, connected persons connected to the JLP keep getting contract after contract, payment after payment, food upon food. What can go so? And let me be clear, if any other public servant, any teacher, any police officer, any civil servant tried those things, they would be brought before the courts. Like the poor man who stole a few pods of ackee from the King's House ackee tree. So why should there be a different law for them and another law for the JLP leadership? But comrades, Julian Robertson explained that corruption is not just an ethical problem, it is a development problem. Every dollar that ends up in the pocket of a corrupt official is a dollar that could have gone to fix a school, purchase medication for a clinic. Every overpriced contract that goes to a crony means a legitimate businessman who employ people and pay taxes does not get that contract. Corruption contributes to net FDI falling to 25% of what it was when the PNP was last in office. Corruption contributes to food imports doubling under the JLP in the last 10 years. And instead of that additional 800 million US going into the pockets of Jamaican farmers, it is going into the pockets of their friends and cronies. We see the results in our everyday communities. Bad roads, broken water systems, hopeless young people. The government would like to convince you that you are prospering, but you know that they and their friends are the only ones that are prospering. But comrades, Jamaica deserves better. Let me remind you that the People's National Party has always stood on the side of integrity and accountability. I believe, Comrade KD, it was the Michael Manley administration of the 70s that introduced the first Integrity Commission for parliamentarians, and that politicians should declare their assets. The PNP believes that public service is a sacred responsibility. It is a sacred responsibility. We don't believe in the business of politics. And that is why when we form the next government under Mark Jefferson Golding, we will move decisively to restore integrity to public life. Because ultimately what we want is a Jamaica where public trust is restored. A Jamaica where our young people can believe that success comes from hard work, not links and party connections. Comrades, we saw and we've heard, and I can speak to Manchester, where the labor rights are running a campaign of scarce benefits and spoils. Literally, they want to keep Jamaicans so poor that they're in a life and death struggle. Literally life and death. We heard about the unfortunate incident of a GLP supporter being stabbed to death at the constituency office in Northeast Manchester. But when you have a campaign based on the distribution of scarce benefits and spoils, you get these things. But comrades, time come. Time come. Time come for a government that puts people first. Time come for a prime minister whose statutory declarations can be certified. Time come for a government that is concerned with making life better for the people of Jamaica. And time come for a prime minister with clean hands and a pure heart. Andrew Holness, one golden put you up there, and this golden going to take you down. One love, one heart.